maeneo ambapo tunapata huduma hizi za ndege zetu. Tusikie kinachoendelea ndani ya majengo haya.
Funds to entities with persistent material breaches. But the question this committee has asked itself in the past, when you stop transfer of funds to counties, who suffers? Is it the governor and his team, or is it the people? And that is why there's instances where we have said, instead of stopping transfer of funds to counties, because it is the person seeking services in hospitals who will suffer, then we make recommendations on the people holding those positions. And this committee is at the moment considering a report where we are declaring certain public and state officers unfit to hold public office as a result of these persistent material breaches. So I want you to reflect on that. It is not our creation, it is what the law says. We have not done it before, but we are seeing a candidate for Article 225. We are seeing a candidate for Section 96 of the PFM Act. It is not proper, and Governor, I hope when you come out of here, with all the constraints that you have stated, illness and post-election petitions, that when you go back, we pray that you'll get the strength to sort things out. My colleagues keep laughing at me that I am busy talking about other counties when my county is in the ICU. I think we need to find a way of working together. If there's support you need from the Senate, we will be more than willing to provide you with support and space to turn things around. So that is on the opinion. And I think finally, if we implement the next formula for revenue sharing, if you have a disclaimer opinion, you'll get less money. I think that is built in the next formula. If you have an adverse opinion, you'll get less money. So, in fact, it is at 2%, and remember, we are recommending to increase it to 4%. So you'll be killing the people of Homa Bay because of these opinions, which are manageable if you have the right team in finance. Please take that seriously. So do we proceed to, unless Governor, you have a response on that and the practical steps you'll take to improve these things?
Chairman, I can assure you in the next audit, we will try our best to get qualified. Because I agree with you, and the first audits that we had, one would say that we just walked in, we didn't understand the procedure of the government, but now we should be able to produce results. And I agree with you, documentation and records is the end thing here. And we have discussed it. I can take this opportunity to assure this very important committee that when we come back next time, you will be happy with us. And particularly being the chair and the Senator of Homa Bay, we want you to be happy also. I can assure you we'll do it. Take my word.
Well, if you had time, I would have asked you to be more specific rather than just selling hope. I would have wanted you to sell the specific steps, but because that was not the subject of audit today.
Chair, to remind the governor.
Senator Kibiru, then Senator Lekin.
Chair, just remind the governor, last time I saw him here, he gave the same promises, the same assurance, and that's quite a while back. So it looks like things are still mark timing.
Senator Lekina.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. I don't know whether I should actually be telling the governor this because my colleague just picked words from my mouth. But really, there are very serious issues in Homa Bay. And I don't know whether you've had an opportunity to go through this documentation. Because if you listened to the auditor, while he was saying, there was an issue, there's a word that he used that they do not comply with the PFM Act. That is very serious. And I think the chair also reiterated on the consequences under Article 96 or Section 96 of the PFM Act. So really, this is a very, very serious issue because when you, first of all, get a disclaimer, it means that the auditors could not even get any papers. Now that you've received the advice, the auditors got the papers, some of them, but they're not properly kept. So really there is a serious mismanagement of funds. So I think maybe we can get into the substantive matters, but I think your assurance has got to be backed by certain.
Na mtaweza kusikia kinachoendelea kule Oledikina na gavana pia vile vile Awiti, lakini kwa hivi sasa tuelekee manake saa 6 kasorobo saa zetu za Afrika Mashariki. Mdogo tukukufahamisha mengi ambayo yanafanyika sehemu tofauti. Kuna matukio kadha wa kadha. Labda kwa yule ambaye anaungana nasi kwa hivi sasa ni kwamba gavana wa Elgeyo Marakwet tayari ashamaliza kile kikao chake alichokuwa nacho na maafisa wa EACC. Ameweza kutoka nje na ukasikia alichokizungumzia, na akasema wanahabari ile fedha ambayo alikuwa anasema imeweza ama ndio ambayo inazungumziwa katika ile sakata ya mafuta. Kwa kweli hiyo figa na utashwishi, na ameeleza bayana nafikiri baadaye katika taarifa zetu saa 7 Makori Ongesha tueleza zaidi. Colin Shitiabaya ametufahamisha kuhusiana na wakulima wa kahawa na kilio chao cha haki, miongoni mwa mwingine ambao wanaendelea hapa. Nafikiri ukiangalia kama kuna picha ya mtu ambaye unamfahamu zaidi, nafikiri ni Gavana Awiti ambaye yuko hapa ndani. Ameweza kutoa stakabadhi zake ambazo kwa lugha ya Kijerumani zikaleta changamoto, akaambiwa atoe na zile ambazo zitakuwa zinaeleweka kwa lugha ya Kiingereza akiwa mbele ya kamati pale Seneti. Twende moja kwa moja tuweze kusikia kipi kinachozungumziwa kwa sasa hivi.
Not adjusted in the respective departments, therefore resulting to overstatement of the pending bills. The supporting documents, Chairman, for pending bills, namely contract documents, schedules, and other related documents are available for the review. Consultants, yes, Chairman, procured by the National Treasury.
Where are they available for review? Is it an annex, or do you have to come to Homa Bay to review them?
Chairman, they are annex.
But there's no reference to an annex. You need to refer us to that schedule for us to review. That's why we are here.
Chairman, they are Homa Bay. The one you have annexed is for the other answers.
Governor, when you say that a document is available for review, then you bring it here. You don't expect us to come to your office to do the review from there. So can you check your responses and make sure that when you refer to a document, it is present?
Chairman, we have a task force on which was appointed, which have been looking at the documents, and we are waiting for the report.
No. You have just stated are available for review. Just on that statement,
okay.
If it's available for review, make it available to us. Okay. Otherwise, we agree with the Auditor General in full.
Yes.
If you can't convince us otherwise, we take the position of the Auditor General.
Okay.
Okay, just proceed. Maybe you might answer some of the questions we have.
Chairman, the consultants procured by the National Treasury and Auditor General, however, gave a figure of 40 million as eligible pending bill as of 30th June 2018, which the county disputes. The management wishes to confirm that the task force committee, which had been constituted and gazetted to review the ineligible pending bills with the view of arriving at the correct figure, is finalizing its report. Chairman, the Department of Health made payment of 500,000 to Paraco agencies for the supply of food stuff made to Ndewa Sub-County Hospital in 2015 based on the request made by the Sub-County MHO to their Chief Officer for Health. This was due to the fact that the Sub-County Hospital could not raise amount on its allocation. Chairman, the payment was done from the vote of grants which the Department of Health uses for contingencies and emergencies. This amount was reflected as part of the pending bill of the Ndewa Sub-County.
So you only have appendices for the 500,000, but nothing for the 742 million.
Yes, Chairman, because the task force was still looking at the documents, and we hope by the next week we'll be able to get the report, and the documents will also be available for review now.
Okay, I hope members have been given a copy of the special audit report, which then should form the basis of the conversation.
Yes.
Who's going first? Senator Olekina?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Governor, I think my first question is, why should you have pending bills? And while answering that question, I want you to tell this committee what is your 5-year, the CIDP, the county, what do you call it? Integrated Development Plan. And what is your annual plan? And at what point do you move out of the CIDP or your annual plan for you to be able to accumulate pending bills? Walk us through that, then I'll understand why you have pending bills in Homa Bay County.
Okay, if you respond to that, and then I'll let the other senators ask further questions.
Chairman, the accumulation of pending bill started when the county government started. The activities we found, which came from the local authority, which were ongoing, because of the ambition of development, and we started the government, Chairman, we overshoot our budget and with planning and development, which we are supposed to be there. And again, every year, we always get money carried forward, and which does not, especially for the development, which does not accumulate to the extent of we'll be able to finish our projects within that particular year. So because of the bad start, Chairman, and we are anxious for development, Chairman, we overshot some of the budget planning. And we learned on the process, and there has been accumulation in the process going on until it reached now. But you'll find every year there's money pending, like 1,800,000,800 carried forward, which we have to plan again, put in supplementary before they are effective for the programs.
I don't think, Chair, I don't think you understood my question. I think my question is very simple. Do you have your CIDP, your 5-year CIDP? That's question number one.
We have.
Just well done.
Chairman, yeah.
And in your CIDP, every single year, you have to dissect it and say, for this year, we have the annual development plan. You plan based on your shareable revenue and based on your local collections. At what point do you deviate from there for you to accumulate these pending bills? Because the way you're responding and saying that money is delayed, how is that money delayed? Is it that money is not given to you at all by the control of budget? They don't approve any spending in terms of your budget? That is the point that I'd like to understand.
Mr. Chairman, let me come in also. First and foremost, I want to say that when we walked in, the expectation from our people are very high. And I think we made a mistake by going into main projects that we did, which apparently did not have enough money at that point to pay all. But also supported by the fact that not all the monies that are budgeted come in time. Most of them are being transferred to the next financial year, or we get them the last days of the financial year ending. So that means we cannot use them. We have to go back again to the next year, reappropriate them. And that is the genesis of the pending bills.
So in summary, so that I can rest this, what you're saying is that when you do not receive money in one financial year,
Yes.
the next financial year, you reappropriate money and assign new project, and you ignore the projects which you had carried out. Is that what you're telling us? No. Just let the governor finish, please.
I think, Mr. Chairman, this happened during the first years as we came in. As that now, I think things are different.
That is not true, because the pending bills which you disclose in your financial statements are 742,315,940. If we look at the new pending bills, where is that? Do you have that document? It shows almost the same, 746,480. So if your argument is correct, then you are saying that you carried forward this from the deformed government, that you Governor Awiti, during your time, you've not accumulated any pending bills.
No, we have.
So then, what you're saying is that, which I think is correct, if we can conclude it that way, is that every year, if you don't receive the money on time,
Yes.
the next year, you appropriate that money,
Right.
and you do not pay for what you, the pending bills that you accumulated in the previous year.
And therefore, Mr. Chairman, what we have done for 18-19, we have said that every development fund
True.
is not true, because what we have done now, realizing that it is not right to use the current budget to pay for pending bills, we have included in our statement that if for all developments, we shall take 10% to pay off the pending bills, so that we cater for it.
Then in a nutshell, you're deviating from your CIDP and your annual development plan.
It's not true, Mr. Chairman, because when we have a integrated development plan for 5 years, every year at the start of the budget, we review what we have been able to achieve in that financial year and vis-a-vis what was in the CIDP.
Chairman, for me to rest this matter, I would like to request the county of Homa Bay to table their CIDP and their annual development plan so that we can be able to understand this mess of pending bills, because people are suffering. And if you are ignoring the projects that you did, you know, remember, people have taken loans and they have to pay for them. If you don't pay, we've seen people killing themselves. So if you can table your 5-year CIDP and your annual development plan, then we might be in a position to assist you, you know, and maybe we can even develop legislation to bar you from deviating from the CIDP. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, Governor, there's something you've mentioned which is extremely dangerous, the issue of 10%. Debt is a first charge. Pending bills are debts. So you cannot decide any other formula. If you have debt, it must form the first charge on the county revenue fund. You cannot come up with another formula saying we'll pay 10% or so. Please, that one, just revise your strategy so that it is in line with the law. Professor?
Chair, I'm happy that you've rejected the special audit report giving you the eligible pending bills. So what is your actual pending bills? Because like Senator Olekina was saying, one of the biggest headache today, even from our own county and many other counties we've been to, is people who did work for a county government, they have not been paid. They're being chased left, right, center by lending agencies. The interest rates have multiplied, they've gone up, and they're closing shop. And the way I understand it, that for development to be effective in a county, you must pay up your bills so that you can enhance development. These are your partners in a county setting. So what is your actual pending bill as you perceive it from Homa Bay County? And what measures are you taking to be able to reduce the level of these pending bills while waiting for other details to come through?
Governor?
Chairman, we had formed a task force, which was allowed and gazetted, to come up and look at the documents and get us the actual pending bill. Because when we talk of 40 million, which was a report from the National Audit Consultant appointed, we have one road called Kadongo Gandia, which was the first tarmac road, 33 kilometers. We have pending bill of about 300 million. So when you say the whole county, we have a pending bill of 40 million, we found that those are not said as consultants. That's why the IBEC meeting allowed all counties to form and gazette the task force to come and review the documentation and come up with the actual report of the pending bill, which we believe by next week we'll be able to get.
You know, maybe before I allow Senator Matangi, just be conscious that when the Auditor General came to Homa Bay, you presented to him bills worth 1.6 billion. That's a report from the Auditor General. And what we need to agree on is that the Office of the Auditor General, it's a constitutional office that is manned by experts. We must agree that this exercise also took almost 200 million across the country. The tragedy is after spending 200 million, sending the Auditor General to go and do a verification, we are again disputing and re-auditing the work of the Auditor General. At that time, people are suffering. But there were two things in the letter of the control of budget. Number one, the COB said, pay all bills flagged as legible. In your case, it was 40.4 million. Can you confirm that you have paid the 40.4 million?
We are paid, Chairman.
You can confirm under the oath that the governor has taken that you have paid the 40.4 million that was flagged as legible pending bills?
We are paid, Chairman.
Okay, yes. So your focus now is on the
balance.
The balance, which is?
Which is to be determined.
1.62 billion.
The Chairman, because auditors, the report of the auditors said it was 742, which we give them. And that's with the record we have. But we also formed a task force, which was allowed by the county control of budget, that after the consultant from Treasury decided that the county government of Homa Bay has only 40 million, we were allowed to go and look at the ineligible to confirm whether they're really eligible, and that's exactly 40 million. So the report we expect by next week.
Senator Matangi?
Okay, Chair. I think to have this query fully answered, there are two things that need to be clarified. Chair, one, the audit query is on that difference of 38,718,000. So the documents pertaining to this query, for this query to be validly settled, as you have said in that statement, they are following, is they have to be availed. The ones you said are available for review for the 38 million. Because in the absence of those documents, then the audit query cannot be settled. But then, Governor, what I wanted to understand is when you made your presentations to the Auditor General's team when they came, did you present your documentation for 742 million, which you acknowledge is your acceptable or acknowledged pending bills? And then there is a report that the consultant had who came to audit Homa Bay County. Do you have a copy of the report that the consultant did, showing you the details that, for example, out of this variance of 916 million, it comprises of this amount? I don't know whether, do you have this report from the Auditor General on Homa Bay? Because these are all the counties, and you should be able to look at the column that shows the Auditor General's report and what he says about Homa Bay County. I don't know whether you have. If you don't have, you can get a copy from the clerk, so that we are looking at the same document.
They must be having it, because it's a basis for the establishment of the special committee.
That was the next question I was coming to, Chair. Because I wanted just to establish then, if you are aware about this 916 million that the Auditor General says is the variance, did you ask for the documentation that was presented? The question I'm asking is because from the report of the Auditor General, presentations after the advertisement were even done by members of the public. And that is a point that senators here are trying to raise. The members of public who were had the freedom to go and present their documentation to the Auditor General. It would be of the interest of the county to look at those presentations and see who is genuinely owed and has gone to the Auditor General to make a presentation and you have not captured. Do you have those documents, or did you just dismiss the 916 million as a figure that the Auditor General just created? You know, because if then you said so, it would raise an even bigger query, because the committee would require them to see the breakdown of this 916 million so that residents and citizens of Homa Bay do not get disenfranchised. Now, my last question is on the payable 40 million. When you said you disputed the Auditor General's report, which came before which, Governor? Is it the IBEC resolution to form the task force, or was it the special audit committee that was exercise that was carried out by the auditor? Because I remember the president giving a directive that pay all pending bills after verification by the team that was appointed by Treasury and Auditor General. Before then, you had your audit committees, which never resolved the matter. So which came before which? Because I would be asking this question on behalf of what my colleagues have said. Then what happens to those citizens of Homa Bay who may have rendered services genuinely? Maybe they have documents which were not stamped. Maybe they have a document that was not signed by somebody. That makes that pending bill ineligible. And so if you do not own those documents, those people will be suffering. My last question is, how are you sealing the loophole that people would exploit? Because once you do not have correctly documented and accounted for pending bills, tomorrow I can come to Homa Bay myself and ask the clerk in procurement to give me an LSO and or an LPO dated 2015 and include another 100 million, and they will sign it for me and it will be put in your pending bill. You've not put the lead on what your pending bills are right now. So